So I started practicing yoga about 18 years ago. I had undergone a pretty invasive surgery, required extraction of a benign tumor that was rooted in my jaw. And from that surgery, there was a healing process that was about 6 months. And the doctors had said, you really need to do low impact exercise. And I had stumbled upon this Bikram yoga class at my local gym. Again, it was very important that I didn't do anything jarring to my face. So I was having to be very, very careful, very mindful of what I was doing, how I was doing it. And I just remember as I was practicing the yoga feeling like, wow, like I've come home. Like this this was somewhere in my past life. And I'm now just stepping into it. And I fell in love. And I still practice yoga to this day. The simplicity of the Bikram practice, the heated room, the repetitiveness of the sequence, that all came together to create this beautiful sequence and environment for me to practice in and to really build a solid foundation. And from there, I started to experiment with other styles of yoga, including vinyasa and power yoga. And one of the other things that's really important to me in the yoga practice is alignment. I think alignment has a place in our practice, and I really learned about alignment, became very interested about alignment through the workshops and the trainings that I had done with Annie Carpenter, and of course my dear sweet friend Linda McGrath in Los Gatos. And through the classes that I had taken with Brian Kest at Santa Monica Power Yoga and Meditation, the integration of meditation, of mindfulness, of being more aware of your breath and moving through the asanas, you're staying connected with your breath and just being more aware, paying attention to what's showing up for you on your mat and how does that get transferred to your everyday life off the mat. I'm a clinical psychologist, and through my clinical work and just some of my personal experiences, I have this really strong interest in integrating Western psychology with these more contemplative practices. And through that coupling, I think it's a really nice way to help people to come up against transitions or transformations in a more meaningful and healthy way. And one great example of that in terms of what you're practicing on your mat and taking that into your life is balancing poses. And so in a balancing pose, it might be a little challenging. You might start to feel a little shaky, you're wobbling, you might fall out. What is showing up for you on the mat? Are there certain thoughts, emotions, feelings that are coming up for you? And does that make you want to shut down, to get out of the pose? And how can you learn to work with whatever is coming up for you on the mat, where you can come into a place of less reactivity and maybe stay in the pose for a little bit longer and come into some newfound strength or capability that you maybe didn't know you had, or was maybe covered up by some sort of thought, feeling, emotion. I think that each and every one of us at our core, we're just, we're pure love, we're joy, we're basically just at peace with ourselves. But I think sometimes, especially as we get older, that gets lost, whether it's because it's being covered up by some sort of trauma, expectations that are put forth by society. And so I think that through the yoga and the meditation, those are beautiful gateways for us to access that core that is in each and every one of us. Hi everyone, my name is Melissa, and I'm a licensed clinical psychologist as well as a certified yoga instructor. The majority of classes that I offer through Power Yoga on Demand are focused really in the prenatal period, and we'll also be putting up some classes for the postpartum period as well. And my hope for you in taking these classes is for you to be able to have some space to get familiar with your internal landscape to feel more empowered, to feel more connected to that intuitive self. So when you walk away from the class, you're just feeling a little stronger, a little more grounded, a little more centered. And I hope that you enjoy the classes. Thank you so much for watching, and namaste.